Okay, we will call this meeting to order. Ashley, will you give a roll call?
Yes. Oscar Robbins. Mike Davidson,
Here.
Steve Davis. Tom DeWitt,
Here.
Preston Elkins,
Here.
we have a quorum.
Okay, we need to approve the minutes for June 4th. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have discussion. Action items. First will be the water advisory update. So to put this on public record. So yesterday we discussed the possibility of leaving the current modified drought plan intact while flow meters arrive and were installed. And while Mr. Segovia and Mr. Merrick work on the percentage formula for trigger levels. Mr. Mendoza and staff will make final considerations as to which trigger method we would like to use as primary and secondary. Mr. Merrick explained the conversations regarding DBSNA, phone call, and things we must consider since we are interacting with state land we have no leases for. It was determined for a time frame to be as short as possible. We would wait for input from EPCOR with the goal being not spending money we didn't have, but at the same time, not delaying the progress in the event that we did not secure EPCOR services. We had a flow meter update from Chris, whereas the sub vendor received the wrong flow meters and the vendors are making the corrections to the city order. And Ashley Flores announced adjustments that had been made to project timelines. The Water Trust Board award letter was received with phase 1 being I think a shade under $8 million. Are these items correct?
Yes, whenever I go over it on my portion for the update, I'll give you a better detailed update.
Excellent, excellent. So if there are no comments regarding that, we could move to an item that Tom DeWitt put on, which would be the solid waste transfer station.
Can I ask one thing? I wasn't here yesterday.
Yes,
The flow meters, what happened with those dudes?
So the flow meters came in,
Okay,
they ordered 2-inch and essentially half. So when they came
they
in,
being, we ordered the wrong size or they shipped us?
no, they shipped us the wrong size.
So they put us back at 18 months or whatever it is?
No,
Okay.
no, hopefully not. So Mike, Flynn, he's gonna get with them, or he already got with them.
Okay.
Basically, he told them, hey, you need to check your record, see what we ordered, because this isn't what we ordered. They got back with them and said, you're right, we made a mistake. We're gonna try to get it done. And we made
That helps a little bit.
he made the call to say, hey, we need to get this expedited. It's, it's priority, so.
Yeah.
We don't know when, but we just know they're working on it.
Hopefully not the original lead time that they.
Okay.
Okay, good deal, man. Thank you.
so solid waste transfer station, Thomas.
I didn't realize that I put it on there, but it's a good topic. It's a good topic. Did we get a chance, Joe, did we get a chance to do anything on that email that I sent you with the formula?
Okay, so I have not been able to move forward on the survey just yet. I have looked into a couple of those things, yes, and but being able to execute any of it as of right now, I have not been able to do that. Update on capital outlay or congressional spending for the transfer stations. We did get turned down for one from one senator and another has not gotten back yet because their appropriations committee has not decided yes or no. So we're just kind of waiting. We're in a waiting period for that right now. It will not be the full amount that we asked for if we do receive it. So, I mean, we will need to go ahead and look for grants, but we also need to keep in mind that whenever we do that, what the match is on those grants.
Right.
And that's a really important factor that I look at whenever I'm looking at these grants.
So
Yeah.
Joe, go ahead.
Okay.
No, you go ahead.
Well, there was longitude and latitude put into the ICIP that,
Yes,
and is.
that needs to
Am
be
I correct?
corrected.
Was that over around the walking trails?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that I
Then I
done
did
my
correct it.
army stuff right and zeroed in on them coordinates.
Yeah,
Um,
yes, it's like behind it.
Yeah, that's about what I come up with. Thank you.
Mhm.
Other than that, I just, I'll reiterate that, I would love to see a transfer station. I would love to see Portales recycling and not spending money on stuff going to a landfill by the tons that we could be recycling, and recovering here. But at the same time, I really don't think, I really think we need to be diligent about making sure that we, don't get a bunch of funds and start a project going that is going to sit in mothballs and
Mhm.
us not have the personnel or the money to run it on a daily basis.
Mhm. And I agree with you, which is why in projects this size and what we would want to do with it is we would be doing phases. So I agree with you with the recycling. That would be a further down the road phase. We would need to get everything settled, with the transfer station first and with,
Absolutely.
just the newness of it all and, staffing it and whatnot. So that would be, probably like a third phase kind of thing. And you go from there, but that is the project breakup, is that you definitely want to phase it out so that you're not sitting with the mothballs, as
Right.
you say.
Can we get some clarity on one thing? So we did get turned down for something. Was that a grant that we got turned down for or a budgetary amount that we asked for?
That was a capital outlay ask from one of the senators.
Okay. So for the record, this is a ICIP project.
Yes.
It's listed as project 33906. It's ranked at number 6 in priority. The total cost was calculated at 4.2 million. Asking for 450,000 for 2025 and 3.7 million in 2026. I'm thinking the only thing the city needs to do anytime soon is maybe bump the priority ranking above a 6
Okay.
and keep applying. Just hammer them.
Well, and in the near future, we'll be bringing that to its own special meeting and to council for those priorities to be determined.
Excellent, excellent.
I'm not sure the time frame of when that will take place, but as we approach the ICIP season, so to speak.
Okay, well, good work on this.
Thank you.
Think it is important. Anything else, Thomas?
I'm good. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
I do have an update. Never mind, we can go ahead and do that.
You got
in a
us all
minute.
excited and then.
No, I just wanted to make sure we were on transfer station. I just wanted to,
Thank you.
but go ahead.
So next up is something that I wanted to talk about is the status of sanitation and our refuse equipment that is in inventory. I guess I'll go ahead and lead some more. I wondered if we could get a quick lowdown on the heavy equipment and inventory and what the status is, primarily related to the sanitation department.
Okay. I have that for you. Mr. Chavez is in interviews right now, so he's
Okay.
not able to come. So he gave me some things. By the way, they are solid waste interviews and very positive things. But we'll see what happens, kind of stuff. We are short 3 employees in solid waste as of right now. We have 7 trucks total, 2 currently running. 1 is in the shop for a Packer cylinder replacement. 1 is in the shop for PTO issues. And let's see. 1 is for wiring harness, which they're having issues getting. 1 down for driveline and radiator. We do have a claw truck back. The other claw truck needs an engine and cylinders. And we are still working on the street sweeper,
And working on the street sweeper, meaning,
getting parts.
okay,
And, but that, you know, the street sweeper is aged, and so getting the parts for that is difficult.
okay.
And wiring harnesses are difficult to get anyway, whenever it comes to this kind of stuff. They're usually back ordered.
But we are working on it.
Yes,
Okay, the way Steve made it sound in council meeting, it sounded like it was dead in the water. Forget about it. It's no more. That's the way it felt.
well,
Street sweeper?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'd like to offer my services and a few other people too. I can find some parts. I can find some old parts. I mean, for like antiques, this is some of what I do. If somebody will give me some part numbers and descriptions, I can help the city find some parts. I'd just
Okay.
like to throw that out there.
and that would be a Mr. Chavez question, but I don't think that he, you know, meant that the street sweeper is just dead in the water kind of thing.
Okay,
It's
that's the
just
way it
that
felt.
it is.
That's the way I took it, and that's
Okay.
one of the reasons why I brought
It's a
this up.
very frustrating task for
I
city
bet.
staff to try to find parts that are consistently not available
Mm.
for many various different things, whether it be a fire truck or an ambulance or a street sweeper.
I've had an inventory of fire truck and found parts for it also, chief. So I can, but that's just one of the things that I do.
Well, and
but I can
then
help.
it becomes the issue of procurement.
No, I get that.
And it's a big mess, but it is encouraging that they are continuing to work on it.
I can find it and then turn it over to you guys for procurement, but I can help find the parts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, you know, we're placing our department heads, especially in sanitation, of, you know, we're giving them a brick wall. I want to see us stop torturing these people, forcing them to say that we can't get parts, we don't have a sweeper. Same with the trash trucks. We have got to come up with a process and a method to help them. They're getting hammered from every angle. I found a commercial site, a commercial truck trader that literally has street sweepers from $15,000 to 100,000 to 170,000. A lot of them in the range from 45 to 75,000. I realize it's used. It's better than nothing, and they say it worked fine. So just accepting it. I've been hearing that we don't have parts for the past year on the street sweeper.
Mhm.
So at some point in time, we have got to find a means to help remedy that situation as opposed to keep repeating that. And it is not, well, I'm not interested in whose fault it is. I do know it's not the fault of the sanitation department. You know, I don't want to blame the council, but within our system, we have got to come up with a solution or we will be eaten alive. So by the public.
And we can definitely, as staff, look into the purchase of a used one. It's just whether or not we have the funding that can be utilized for a used piece of equipment.
Absolutely. I'll send you the link that I saw.
Thank
You can see if I was on the right track with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked legit.
Along kind of those same lines, I received a picture from somebody, one of our citizens of, it appears in the picture, 6 new dumpsters along the fence. And he said that there were more new ones, but a bunch of used ones. Are we working on getting those new ones out, or are they just sitting there? Because they're
Part of
kinda
the
stacked.
6 new ones are reserved for special events, as I sent out in my council email.
Yeah.
That way, when Heritage Days comes up or whatever event, we have those available. As far as the other ones, they're in the process of being swapped out as we have staff and availability.
Okay. Thank you.
Mike, are you still there on the trash trucks?
Yes, sir.
So on the trash trucks. There again, last meeting, we spoke about, you know, how many trucks are working, how many are parts trucks. And I read an email from a young lady the other day that said that, and we need clarification on this. Are they operating trucks or are they pulled out of inventory for parts trucks? Or do we need to send some trucks to auction to get them out of our inventory? How exactly I mean, if we're scavenging from one truck, then we're basically taking it out of inventory. So what is the fine line there?
Okay, so whenever we say that we have 7 trucks total, okay, and whenever you say scavenging from one truck to
Well, we
another,
call it parts trucks,
oh,
that we're pulling parts off of this one and I agree with that. I mean, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do, but we need to be right about the inventory. And whether that vehicle that we're pulling from is still part of, the inventory
mhm.
or not.
Well, it either needs to be labeled as a parts truck or a functional.
Or
in-service
repairable.
truck.
Yes, okay.
So we can work to get you a updated list of how many. The goal is to have in service and running and how many we have available versus how many are just for parts.
Could you take that one step further, chief, and give us your determination of what is holding that up? Is it revenue or is it vendor source parts?
Or mechanic,
And
Or what?
mechanic.
Yeah, and I think we have 1 or 2 vendors that can work on these trucks effectively and efficiently. And they consistently have one in their shops, from my understanding. And I think it's a combination of all these things,
Okay.
but I think part of it is the mechanic side. Because they're trying to get parts and get things out the door. And I can't speak for the garbage trucks, but like, we have an ambulance that's out of service right now waiting for a turbo.
Mhm.
That you would think you'd be able to just order one, have it in less than a week and get it installed and ta-da. But with shipping changes and everything, it's unfortunately slower than we'd all prefer.
okay. All right. Anything else on that topic?
The only thing that I'm gonna say is, please be aware of what you put into your dumpsters, because sometimes what you do put into the dumpster can break the trash truck.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
then you have another one that is out.
Then you can break the dumpster as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Potential privatization of solid waste, Chief Cat.
Yes, sir. This was a fairly contentious topic that was brought before council. So I wanted to bring it back to the Public Works Committee because from my understanding, there was no direction given by the Public Works Committee on which direction we should go. I do think that we need to make sure that we follow the proper process to ensure we're meeting all the procurement expectations of looking at privatization of any service. But I wanted to open up the discussion to get the Public Works Committee's opinion on, just to get a determination on which direction y'all felt was the best to go.
Is this a private or this
This was
one
a-
by one?
I
opinion here?
definitely had some comments, but it did come out in council, so if you'd like to.
Well,
address it first.
this was really just brought to me to present because Mr. Rackler wasn't able to present it last meeting.
Right.
For his knee surgery, I think. And so I'm always up for just being efficient. I don't care if it's the city's doing it. I don't care if a private company comes in and does it, as long as the service is being provided at a reasonable cost. I am up for any route. Whether that bringing in SOS or waste management or keeping it with the city. You get what you pay for, so we either need to raise our rates for this in order to help purchase new vehicles. Or we need to look at going elsewhere. That's my opinion.
I agree with that. I've spoke with Mr. Rackler quite a few times on it as well. I think that our guys are doing a great job and it has absolutely nothing to do with city worker performance, nothing. The city workers' performance is reflective of our equipment. And the ability to keep that equipment going, just like we just got through talking. And I think that any halfway reasonable idea should be looked at to help with that. And I still think that we should be in talks with somebody about an emergency backup. Because the 2 trucks, the 3 drivers, we know what happened with my son and his foot. If that happens to one of these drivers, which could easily happen to one of them, we're down drivers, we're down trucks. And if we had some kind of an emergency backup to
Well, and the ultimate goal is to get to a staffing point and a truck point where we can be that
Absolutely.
emergency backup.
Right.
The problem is it was proposed before any of y'all were on this committee for rate increases. And city staff got lambasted once again about increasing rates to accommodate those costs. So we're just looking for direction on the way to go.
I think, and I publicly put out on my post that people need to be prepared to pay a little bit more taxes to help with our infrastructure, with our water, with our solid waste. We can't do it with the money we're taking in right now. The revenue is just not strong enough.
Well, and along with that, I had heard rumors, and please correct me if I'm wrong, at the potential cost of waste management coming in of what it would cost per household.
I didn't
Mr.
hear that. I've read
Yeah.
it, but I didn't hear that.
Mr. Rackler had told me when he came to visit me in my office
Just whistled in my.
that it was like $26 a month to $32 a month, depending on if you have the big cubic dumpsters in the alley, or if you have the poly ones that you roll out every twice a week.
Now, would that be above what we're
It
paying on
would
our
be.
bill now?
It would be
Okay,
an incremental increase, but I mean, you might be getting a better service. I don't know. I mean, I don't have waste management.
right now, whenever I look out my back window and I see trash, I think I'd pay that extra $26. I mean, and I think a lot of people would, but we've
Well,
got to
it's
step
not,
up.
it's not an extra $26.
Oh, it's not.
That would be the total bill.
Okay, well, yeah, my question was on top of what we're,
I don't know.
okay,
I don't
okay,
know.
gotcha.
I don't think it would be on top of the total bill. I
Okay.
think that would be their cost.
Right.
So my question to Ashley is, what is solid waste cost the average household? Do you have a rough idea?
I wish I had a bill.
I don't have my bill. It's roughly, I think it's, last time I actually looked at mine, it was, I wanna say around $20.
Mm.
So, I was just about to tell Joe, with the Waterworth, we're finalizing the water part and wastewater, and now we're gonna move to solid waste, so that will be implemented as well in the rate study.
So, so hopefully we can start narrowing down a more accurate information in regards to the solid waste. My opinion right now is, I'm not down for privatizing this quite yet. Because of what we're trying to do potentially with EPCOR, I think it's too much at once. And I also think that in the event, if we privatize the affluent and fresh water, that might leave more resources for us to concentrate on waste management. That said, that is not going to happen if we do not help these people with equipment, personnel, and labor. That is a lost cause. And I think ultimately the city complaints are going to be so great that we are going to be forced to privatize. So just 2 cents worth there.
I agree. I agree, but I still think we're in a crisis right now and we need to be prepared for an emergency. So I really think we need to find somebody, even one of our local people around here, was it B&B or whatever, somebody that we can contract short period of time to say, hey, we just lost our second. But how many are we getting emptied a week now? Dumpsters.
I'm still working on getting the updated data on that.
Okay.
The drivers have started to log their routes every day, and then when they have to pull off their route to go dump in Clovis, and if they have to pull off their route to go to a special dumpster that needs to be emptied because it got filled too fast.
I know. I received a
Mhm.
little TikTok thing the other day.
Mhm.
Of a piece of equipment that was phenomenal. I'll share it with you later, but it grinds the trash down inside the roll off. It's wild, but
So, and I think Thomas brings up a good point. If we could find somebody that we could come in short nose, give us a hand, catch up type deal. I think that would be a pretty good idea. It's something that we should consider.
And I think
Along.
that we can definitely look into that as staff and bring back information at the next meeting if
Some-
we are able to obtain it.
Yeah, something that is, non-committal
Yeah.
And-
Right.
I know very little about garbage trucks, but I do know that the type of trucks that we have are different than the type of trucks that other companies have.
Mm.
And the way our alleys are set up, a lot of the trucks that come in, like my uncle drives garbage truck to Easter. And his picks it up from the front. Well, you're not gonna be able to do that in our alleys.
Right.
So we'll have to find a company that's able to accommodate the way we're currently set up.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, and Ashley.
So as I talked about yesterday in the water advisory, we did receive our award letters for the Water Trust Board grants and loans. For the well field, we got a 10% loan amount of $750,000 with a 90% grant of 6.8 million, with the match of the city of 2.9 million, with a total of $10,518,042. So with that moving forward, we do have a substantial amount to be able to get the design and surveying for the booster station, one storage tank, and the existing well field, as well as a transmission pipeline. So moving forward with that one, we already got the breakdown, and next we'll be moving into the phases of the design and plan.
Okay.
With the with the well field, and then with the storage tank, we got a total of 50,000 with the loan and grant. And then, of course, the match of the city of 140,000, and that's to design for environmental studies, permitting and rehabilitating the 3 million gallon storage tank and booster station on Lime Street. So just waiting on the breakdown for and design from Stantec, and so moving forward with that, both projects will be starting in at the end of 2024, beginning process of full in 2025.
All right,
Can I ask, if we started the discussion with that board, has Dan reached out to you, chief?
We met yesterday. They are in the process of beginning and developing their list of the questions that they have for us. I've connected them with Chris and Ashley so that we don't have a delay in that. As far as there's no reason for me to be a go-between to forward an email when the email can just go to them. They can provide the information and move from there.
Are we going to utilize them and their expertise to help make sure that these projects are as efficient as what they would be?
So when they come through, we're just gonna hammer them.
Pick their brains.
Yeah, we're gonna hammer them with every question that we could think of.
Right on.
See what's gonna be beneficial, see what's not, see where if they did take over, what they want us to look at, right, and stuff like that, so. But until they reach out to me, I'll just I'll continue
writing questions.
Cool, so.
So, and I do want to make a note regarding that work that Ashley did. That was awesome work. That was complex work, getting those dates and everything rearranged and extended. So don't be going and asking for a raise, but that was good work. Okay.
Which one, the roof?
Okay, new drought contingency plan. Well, I covered a lot of that in the water advisory group summary. Basically that we need to hold off for a little bit, at the same time, not get behind the curve. So I really can't think of anything new that wasn't covered in the water advisory group summary. So
Can I just make one note of that? I was able to listen in yesterday to the Water Advisory Committee meeting.
yes.
And I agreed with what was being said, but I did want to just kind of make for the old drought contingency plan and the vote that was made in, I want to say April, to modify the restrictions of watering. That was not made just as I was sitting over there. I had had meetings with city staff, with Mr. Mendoza and chief, and their recommendations were actually 2 days of watering a week. And I thought that was a little too excessive. And even though they're the experts in the field there, I just wanted to make sure that we were still being diligent and conserving, and so that's where the 1 day came from.
Mhm.
That was not made in haste.
Mhm.
And I think you made the thought of having a committee to help figure out what the stages should be when we go on those. I do just want to let you know that we did visit with them to make sure that they were okay with that, with what we were doing, and both of them had agreed.
Okay, yeah, and, okay,
Just as an.
absolutely.
And part of that, I almost felt like some of what was being talked about yesterday was taking council out of the decision-making process, and I don't think that that should happen at all. If I misunderstood that, I don't think that the people's voice should be taken out.
No, you didn't misunderstand it, and if we're gonna reopen it, my contention was that there is no drought contingency plan that says we change stage levels when we think people are leaving town, or we change stage levels when we think people are no longer following our laws, or we change stage levels when we think our quality of life is being eroded. And at that council meeting on 4/22, those were the reasons given to change the stage levels. So I considered that to be an emotional decision instead of a science or data-driven decision. Now, using the science and data, if we were, a drought plan, as I reworded some of it, was very inclusive of the council. It was actually overkill because of things that you had brought up, things that others had brought up, thinking that they did not have a part in that decision. Was it made because we didn't object? Like little kids, you didn't tell us we couldn't do this, or was due course followed, or did the city manager have the power to do that? It was very confusing. So I made it a point to almost overkill where city council approved it at each meeting. But after witnessing the meeting of 4/22, I felt like that was a gigantic mistake because it seemed to be an emotional decision. And then as to the science and data part of it, we seem to not follow what the engineers and geologists and hydrologists had told us. And we seem not to follow what the chief recommended. And from prior conversations, what Chris, Eric, and previous Chris Cordova had suggested, in addition to two city managers, Sarah and Sammy Standiford stood right there in a council meeting and asked us not to remove restriction. So I felt like we're not listening to the experts. I'm glad to know what you just said, but I felt like we're not listening to the experts. And subsequently, if we're not going to listen to the experts, then let's quit paying them. Let's quit wasting $100,000 a year to get their advice if we're not going to follow it. With that in mind, by the council's own admission, we have no water experts on council. Eldon is the closest we have. So why are we allowing non-water experts to make water decisions like that? So my recommendation was, even if the council approved these people, is that we had a more scientific or data-driven group, small and preferably odd numbered, to make that decision so that there were no emotions coming into the decision and there were no conflicts of interest coming into the decisions. So,
Mr. Vice Chairman, if I may, you're talking about in development of the drought contingency plan. Because there's no way to forego council for the decisions made to exercise which portion or the decisions council is going to make, because everything funnels through council.
absolutely. They are.
So you're not denying council the ability
No.
to make that decision. You're
No.
just recommending a different format for the committee that determines the drought contingency plan
Yes,
itself.
and I'm going to be real blunt here, and it's not meant as an insult.
No.
It's meant as a fact. council has the authority to make the decision. They just don't have the qualification based on water knowledge. That is my point. And that, I do not mean that as an insult.
No, I
Yeah.
completely agree.
Yeah, yeah.
But to say that that was an emotional decision, knowing that you were in my office for several hours going through the data
Mhm.
to back up the motion I made. We went through the data, so there was no emotion there.
But we disagreed with it. So we
But
had,
it-
we had
it
a
was-
100 million gallon disagreement.
But it was their data that was provided. So
Yes, it was.
It was our experts' data, so you're saying our experts' data was wrong. I'm good with that. I agree with you. The data is incorrect. We're missing pieces, but it's data driven. And then I went to clarify with our experts that you just mentioned we should utilize.
Mhm.
They both wanted to be able to water more.
Mhm.
From both of their words, correct me if I'm wrong, you both said 2 days would be plenty.
If we.
You're comfortable if we lifted the restrictions. 2
Based
days.
on a trial to see how the tanks held, yes, that was the
Hmm.
recommendation that our water department put to you, that you brought up. And then I agree with you in your decision to go to the 1 day a week to see how we sit, to
And-
make sure that it doesn't cause a major issue.
And the reason that we did that is because I'm following a plan. I'm not a person that's gonna just say, yeah, let's do it because I think so. We had a drought contingency plan that lays it out, X, Y, Z. We followed those. We met the criteria to lift the restrictions. It was not just, hey, I can do it because I'm a council member. I'm doing this because
Oh, no.
we have a plan that
No, no,
says
no.
we should.
And that was not what was being implied. The reasons were given that night. They were not based on science or data in the ones that were presented to the public. And I don't remember hearing anything about these guys' input other than
He did mention it that night before
Okay.
he made his motion.
okay, I'll concede to that. I don't remember that, but I'll concede that.
I'd like to
So
say
just
something.
remember what we.
Yeah.
I'd like to say something on all of it. And some of you've heard this before and some of you haven't, but I agreed and disagreed with the motion that night. Okay, I still feel that the drought contingency plan is an outline of what, no disrespect over here, of what the city manager is supposed to do. Not feels like doing, not makes a, and it's a flawed document, but it's our
It is.
document. It is our document. It tells us what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. That being said, can you, I don't have an MBA, can you waive that?
Yeah.
Anyways, that being said, along with that panel of people that you talk about, Mike, somebody needs to be in there to represent the rule of law and the Constitution, or however you want to put it, because I feel a lot of this has been bypassed. Where we're at right now does not reflect what the drought contingency plan says. But I think we would be in danger. At the same time, I feel we would be in danger if we went to stage 1. I don't agree with that, but I do agree with somebody's got to follow the law. If we pass something today, if the council passes something next meeting, and the next city manager feels that they should go a different route, everything we've done is just pushed in the trash.
Well, and I think the whole point of updating the drought contingency plan is we all have issues in one area or another, that we need to make this plan better fit the needs of our community as we are right now and as we want to proceed in the future. And I think that's the intent of everyone on this community, because I know it's the intent of staff.
Absolutely.
Because this going by the tank level seesaw business is not good for anyone.
Yeah, I mean, we are currently not following the drought contingency plan to the degree that we were not following the drought contingency plan previously.
And my problem with that is there's a punishment to the people if they break what council says, but the council and the city has broken a resolution that was adopted and is rule of law for the people. They must first follow their own laws before they can punish the people, or we'll be set up for a major lawsuit, if not many.
Well, I think the reasoning there, Tom, is by our current drought plan, sure, let's go to stage one.
No,
There's no common sense to do that.
Yes.
That, like you said, will set us up to fail. And then we're in a whole bigger lawsuit when we run out of water. So I think it would be better to not water at all than to just, hey, let's just unload and just see what happens.
I provided an alternate plan, and if my alternate plan, drought contingency plan, that a new one needs to be adopted, if that one doesn't fit, I think one of the discussions we're missing here is a temporary new drought contingency, and I agreed with what the council or the committee said yesterday. But we need something that is gonna have teeth to it. We have no teeth to anything. We just set ourselves up for a lawsuit.
Maybe.
It's I think we could,
We've got a couple of people in our community that might run with that.
Well, let's not give them the idea.
They've already voiced it.
well, you know. For one thing, the separate group that I spoke about was just to get to water-based people, and that would be at the approval of council. So I definitely am not suggesting that we remove any type of power from council. More so removing a responsibility. But I think we can all agree that based on even our conversations right now, is that our drought contingency plan is extremely flawed. And, you know, I'm not trying to blame anybody for that. It was thrown together, cut, copy and paste at a time where we needed one. Excuse me, probably to apply for funds or to meet some criteria or state law. It wasn't really something that we saw being a deciding factor of our lives. And then here it is. So. At any rate, anything else on drought?
I will just say for the new drought contingency plan, I hope that we can utilize. EPCOR or some type of hydrologist to help with the plan itself. Because they're. the
That's a
ones
good
who
idea.
pay off.
Yeah.
It would make more sense coming from them versus just
Yes.
a tank level approach where, well, we thought it would work, but.
Well, and I think we've come down to the fact that the reason that drought contingency plan was put into place many years ago was financially driven to check a box for
Yes.
state funding, grant funding, whatever.
Yeah.
Which I understand the need in that time frame. But as we try to utilize this plan, we've identified some things that need to be improved. And so we make those improvements and we go on.
And it would not be unreasonable to get a professional to write the drought contingency plan,
Right.
like you're talking about.
Well, and the Office of the State Engineer typically can assist with something like this.
Great.
That's who I was pointed to when I talked to the gentleman that I spoke about that retired as the water and superintendent of Kerrville, Texas. He pointed me to that because they probably already have something very similar in place that we could piggyback off of and not reinvent the wheel.
Of Kerrville or
Yeah.
state water?
He
Because Kerrville's
retired
got a
from
lot of water.
Kerrville. He retired from Kerrville, but he did a little research on our behalf just because we're
Oh.
friends. And that's who he pointed me towards because Texas has their own different water authorities.
Right.
And so he did a quick Google search and sent me the link to the OSE.
And that's K-Pub, isn't it? They're public utility as well.
Yeah.
They're one of our audit.
And, you know, another factor, at least a factor of it is if by chance we did go with EPCOR services, we're not going to be worrying about the drought contingency plan. They're going to take care of that. And the other factor, which was pointed out, is that a drought contingency plan is just that. It's about a drought. It is about an emergency that is brought about because of a drought condition to where you are consuming more water than normal. And ours is a unique situation. A drought contingency plan is not about broken equipment and things like that. And those are declining aquifers and infrastructure challenges. In essence, we're adding those onto the drought contingency plan. So ours is pretty specialized. So at any rate, any more conversation about DCP?
No.
Okay. Geophysical survey update, Thomas?
Asked some questions yesterday. It was strictly about where we were in the process, and I know there's a whole big confusion about that you're not allowed to mention about $80,000.
Oh, yeah.
I'm allowed to mention it.
Not
you're
talking
allowed
about
to. I know. But no, I think I got I think I got the answers that I needed yesterday and through email. So
Okay.
good there.
So asset inventory, potential disposal of public property.
I have tried to reach out to our finance director and I have not been able to get in contact with her this morning. Did she put this on the agenda?
She had just said that it needs to be mentioned and I had
Okay.
asked her.
So at this time, I'll say we're working on it and we will bring it back at a future meeting if that is necessary.
And that was the email that I was referencing earlier
Mhm.
about, and I guess that spells it out better than anything. If we're doing a parts vehicle, it should be on the disposal side.
Yeah.
As opposed to the working inventory side.
Yes,
That's all I
so
wanted to- that's all I had.
referencing the email, reminding us that we do have to follow a certain protocol when we're getting rid of city
Yes.
equipment.
That was very good
So-
information from Mr. Rivera.
Yeah.
I appreciated it.
Yep. So any other items? Preston,
Nothing.
that we don't have down?
Oh, I do have a question. I saw in the newspaper yesterday, I'm gonna take a picture of it. 'Cause I didn't want to bring in the newspaper.
Do you want to be that guy?
No, I didn't. For
great.
residents to take a water survey. I've not seen that. Where's that at?
It's been pushed out on all of our social media and on the city website. It is two simple questions of whether or not you live inside the city limits or not, and your opinion of whether or not we should privatize water services or keep it with the city. That was per the request of the Public Works Committee Chair. Whenever I posted that.
Really?
And will those results be shared?
I have shared the results as of the last council meeting in our email that I send out to council. I'm not sure what direction council or the counselor that made the request for that information how he will decide to utilize that.
Okay, I'm gonna go on record to state that if we're asking the public to take part of a survey, that the results should be given to the public.
I
And
completely agree, but
yeah,
that's not within my power to
yeah,
decide.
and I know that's
I
not
think
your
there's a
call.
lot of missing variables in that question, but
There's,
I took the survey, but
When you emailed that?
I've been the day after council meeting in the council update. I could look it up for you.
Oh,
Or-
council meeting recap.
Yeah. And I could look up the results as of today if y'all would like.
I.
Hmm?
I don't know why we wouldn't, and you're the vice chair, I would think you could.
I mean, we're asking the public for input. Let's tell them,
Yeah.
let's tell them what that input is.
Well, no, that it wasn't the answer that we wanted, Mike, so let's just not.
That's the feeling I'm getting.
All right, so what am I doing?
Good.
You look up whatever the.
you were looking at the current results.
Tell us where it stands.
I gotta go about it the long way because this is not my regular computer.
I did find, I'm assuming Councilor Robinson requested a poll to determine our community's opinion on privatization of water services. And this was as of whatever day Chief said, 155 total responses as of 10:30 on 6/12. Resides in the city, 76%, reside outside of the city, 24%. Privatized water, 67%, city water, 33%. So 2/3 for privatization, 1/3%.
In complete honesty, I haven't had the ability to, or the time to go back and analyze what percentage of inside the city limits wants. One way or another, there's no way to do that on SurveyMonkey other than looking at each individual response.
Yeah, good.
I,
I would just say the tool was fine.
yeah, I mean, it gives y'all like an idea of what the community, and I think that was Councilor Robinson's desire. So as it stands, we have 226 total responses. 77% are inside the city limits, 23% outside. And then for privatized, it's right at 69% with right at 31% for provided by the city.
Okay, thank you for that info. I know a lot of other people would thank you as well. I realize the poll is a little bit premature. A little bit speculative because we literally have nothing to compare it to. EPCOR hasn't given us information. I mean, if EPCOR comes and says, hey, we're gonna give everybody a year's worth of free water, I'm sure that percentage is gonna go
Yeah, we've
up.
changed. And we could
So-
always follow up a poll as we get more
Yeah.
information, but that is as it stands during the current information.
Yep.
When Waterworth is building their information, do they have any kind of questionnaires for the people? Do you know? Is there anything like that that they
No.
may shoot out?
So a rate study is based off of what your capital expenditures are gonna be for the next 5 to 10 years. That's not really something that me as a citizen say, well, I think you need to put this.
No,
up,"
Granted,
And then you build the rates into that. So
Granted,
You gotta
yeah.
leave that up to them.
Yeah, I
Otherwise-
didn't know, I know that they do, they're compiling a lot of information. I didn't know if,
It's
they
all
done any reach out or not.
depreciation-based, Expense-based.
Okay.
It's not gonna be
Fair enough.
based on what the city wants. It's what.
right,
Yes, and whenever we spoke with Waterworth yesterday, their 4th of July is on July 1st, whenever water advisory is supposed to be held, but they will attend Public Works on the 2nd.
They will present.
Yes, they will.
Their 4th of July is out.
Oh, yeah.
They're closed. Okay.
Yes.
I go, what the heck are you
Yeah,
talking
their
So-
4th of July is on
Okay.
first.
So maybe-
Advisory.
maybe we need to let Water Advisory know that in advance so that they can sit in on Public Works and be in the loop and be able to give information.
Okay. So, is there anything else you guys want to say?
Waterworks did ask if we could do a 15% increase in water rates in the next 2 weeks, correct?
Who?
Waterworth.
I'll let you explain that one, Chief.
My answer was that's an impossibility at this time. There's no way it can be accomplished in that time frame.
We've
Real quick,
also asked them when they do their presentation to kind of go over any increases or where they're at, how they built the model so far.
Yeah.
So they'll go over everything, so.
And they are suggestions, right? Suggestions to the city based on
Mhm.
unbiased analytics. Okay.
It's all on data and they'll explain in their presentation as to where they got the data, why they decided on the 15%, how it's going to help the city. They'll be very, very specific.
Preston, do you have anything else?
No.
Thomas?
convenience center hours. Where are we?
So it just got updated to where our hours haven't changed, but they've modified the free days to, I believe it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays are free for everyone. As she mentioned, Steve's in interviews, we're trying to get the staff to a point to where we can extend the hours to go later. But right now we only have 2 employees that work that position. So that's created an issue as far as modifying the hours.
So when I click on the city's website and I go convenience center, whenever I see temporary hours of service 12 to 4, where are we at there?
No, that might need to be updated.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to, if that was not
There was
accurate,
a Facebook post. When was it, Christine?
For what?
For a convenience center?
That would have been Saturday. It went out across and also it's, went off social medias and on the webpage.
Yeah. It doesn't have the hours, it just talks about the
Free Tuesday.
free
Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
right? So like I was considering going out there and I went convenience center in the search bar of the website and it says new temporary hours. I clicked on it. It gave me Monday through Sunday, 12 to 4, or Monday through Friday, 12 to 4, Saturday, Sunday, 1:30 to 4. That is totally inaccurate, right? Do we
Right
need to
now
show
it
that?
is 8 to 4:30.
You're doing Google?
No, I'm on the city's website. And I put in the bar, the search bar, convenience, and it brought me to the temporary new hours of service. That
In
was
the
confusing
council
to me.
meeting recap,
I have no idea. It's just it's on the website.
yeah, that's,
Center right there up on the screen.
Okay, But if you go to the city's search bar and you put in convenience and click on it,
He's not going to the tabs, he's going to the search bar and he's pulling an old flyer.
So that's an old flyer.
okay, but I didn't know that. So that means a lot of people in the city that may look it up the same way I do not know that. And there's,
I would have to figure out where it is, cause it's no longer on the main page. I'll have to
Okay.
search through
No, I
every
got you.
single picture
I
on the
don't-
back end to get it removed.
I hated that you have to do that, but I mean, that's.
Because that could be a news that popped.
Where's
That
the
was
search
the
bar?
second option.
There it is.
It was the second option. You got convenience center, Portales, New Mexico, and you got,
Eight.
It's
Huh?
not just the
First
city,
it said
it
eight.
checks the web.
yeah, because whenever I look at them two, I see new hours.
Well,
That
it
drew my-
says new temporary.
Marketing,
hours.
that's-
A news alert or post when we had to switch and close for lunch because we didn't have enough people.
Gotcha.
I'm opening it up right now.
Okay. But when I'm
Either way,
talking-
we plan to stay
Okay.
open later as soon as we have more staff.
Roger that.
And that is available for county people to take trash to?
Yes,
Okay,
and it's free on Tuesdays and Wednesdays,
okay,
but any other time there will be a charge for county residents. City
Alright.
residents, all they have to do is provide their water bill and it's free because they already paid for it.
Do we know about how much it costs to dump at the convenience center? And the reason why I ask, some people might think that it's gonna cost them $30 to go there. If it's gonna go, I'm just saying they might. If there's not, if the county doesn't know that it's only gonna cost them $3 or $4, $10, they may be more inclined to go there as opposed to $30 is, I'm gonna put it beside somebody's dump. I didn't say that out loud. That was,
Here's the pricing down below
oh, nice.
On the same page.
on the same page. You
Okay,
cannot go to Google because I'm combating somebody changing our hours and saying it's closed permanently.
It
They
won't even open.
submit hey, this isn't open anymore. They're doing the same thing for City Hall, changing our hours. And we
Wow.
have to go back to Google and get it fixed.
I think
Wow.
Tom's doing that.
I'm not that smart. I go.
I hear a motion. Do I hear a second? Well,
All in favor?
and realistically, city staff is being attacked just as much as city council right now, not only in public. When we go to Walmart, but as you can see online.
I did want to say something. That was my last comment. I'm about constructive criticism. I'm not about attacking an individual. I'm not about catch up on somebody's vehicle. I think if they're not doing things legally, then we should hold them to every step of the law. I think it's wrong that people are personally attacked. I mean. But if I say something, it's about constructive criticism. It's not attacking somebody.
Well, and the proper route of communication to bring a complaint is what the gentlemen and ladies on these committees are doing. They're taking a part of being a part of the solution, not just complaining about a problem. And so just from my standpoint, I would like to thank all the committee members that are stepping up and truly trying to help be a part of the solution to give staff the resources we need to provide these services.
Thank
yes,
you.
ma'am.
On the cut screen.
Oh, look, you can report an issue on the city website.
And I can't tell you how important it is for the community to utilize this tool because it allows us to track it in a more efficient manner.
And it becomes a matter of public record,
Yes.
so. Excellent. So with that, those things said. The last item I see is I think the date of the next meeting is incorrect.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's the second.
Okay, so we will meet next July 2nd.
Yes.
I knew because I have an appointment on the 3rd and I thought, oh, man, I made the wrong date. So, all right, with that, this meeting's adjourned.